The Courtauld Institute Slide Library, established 1932, a collection numbering over 200,000 slides of art and architecture, currently under a program of digitisation.
I used to have this nightmare. The whole place would fill up with slides. They would flood everywhere, stack up against the windows and crash down in waves. Slides are a record of collecting itself. We have a collection by this man of details from French Impressionist paintings. No idea which paintings they're from. He would take hundreds of details, and the records all got very disordered towards the end of his life. It's a big job going through all that. This one, for example, looks like a sizzly. But I don't know. It's probably a sizzly. And I remember going to his lectures. He gave the same lecture every year. He would say that at the beginning. I've given these lectures since 1963, and I see no reason to change them. He lectured me in 1981 or 82, but I think he gave the same lecture up until 1990. He just decided on his ideas very early. But now it seems inconceivable that we collected this much. The collection was even attempted. In the early days of the Institute, there was this panic. People taking photos of everything. They've never been used since. I found it all a bit gratuitous. I didn't like it at the time. It's just randomly collecting, like a spider in a web full of dust and junk and files. But now, the equipment has mostly gone. All the slide paraphernalia is gone. The really old stuff we've kept in store. I have a number of old lantern slides, and a number of those have been hand-colourised. We've got lantern slides definitely back to the 1920s, maybe even some back to the 1890s. We're not collecting at all anymore. There's no new slides being made, and we're not accepting any more to the collection. No one's been up here to use the collection in 3 years. The decision comes along in August as to what will be done with it all. You see, it's seen as inefficient, incomplete, and inconsistent, which it is, but under pressure of time and money, the idea of a biased and personal collection is unfashionable. Which is completely unrealistic, really. We still do the same thing on Google Images. Personally, I don't know if there's another way to do it. We're always biased, always selective. All the people who use the slides now are invisible. We never see them. Now they're looking online. You can Google the whole world now. So there are users as such. It's just we don't know who they are. There's no more, where's this filed? It was here last time, but you know, I'm drunk now, I can't remember. But it makes me wonder, where do they think these images come from? There's that thing about Google Images. It tricks you into thinking that all the images are somehow out there, but they're not. They're all just photographs taken by one person rather than another, of one view rather than another. You never really consider that. You realise when people's image searches go wrong. You hear them say, "That's not the image I wanted. How did it know?" Well, the thing is, it didn't know, it's just a beast. The internet. It's just doing it because it works like that. It requires a different mode of thought, and a different way of searching, which the old slide people can't do. They really can't. You present them with Google Images, and they just act like a dog looking at a telephone. But then again, I remember an old woman. She's still around. She grew up with old lantern slides, and she couldn't for the life of her work out the new slides when they came along. She just couldn't understand how to load a carousel. There's an imperative with new technology to get rid of the old. That the new will be so much better, and it's so important to change. I remember it with the lantern slides. Well, but I've got a cupboard over there of hard drives. They'll get dusty, and someday someone will spill a cup of tea over them, or bring in an industrial-sized electromagnet. In the end, everything has its problems.